Welcome to lesson 4.4 on traditional division. Now, yesterday in your lesson, you were working on partial products, and that was a new way to divide, or partial quotients, I'm sorry. Products is multiplication, but partial quotients, which is a word for division, and your answer in a division problem. So our objective is to learn the traditional method of division and how to put remainders into fractions. So here what we're going to do is the steps, and I want to go through them. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And at the top, here are those different symbols I talked about yesterday in our lesson. All of these mean division, or to divide. So that's important to remember. So our first problem here is 8 into 185. So when we're doing traditional division, the first thing I want to do is say, can 8 go into 1? And it can't, but 8 can go into 18. And how many times? Well, I know that 8 times 2 is 16, and that's probably as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to subtract. Remember, look at how I did. I divide first. I multiplied 8 times 2, which gave me 16. Now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract 5 minus nothing is 5. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to do 8 minus 6 is 2. 0. I don't need to do that. And here's where I bring down my 5. Okay, so now I have 25. So I start over with my steps. I'm going to divide. How many 8s go into 25 without going over? Well, I hope you know that 8 times 3 equals 24, right? So I'm going to put down my 24. Okay, so I multiplied. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 1 is 5 minus 4, I'm sorry, is 1, okay? And 2 minus 2 is 0. So I don't have anything left to bring down, so I know that my answer is 23 with a remainder of 1, or if I want to put that into a fraction, I can. I could put 1 over 8, okay? Because 8 here is what I did and when I was doing my division, so it's 1 out of 8. So 23 with a remainder of 1 or 1/8. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So let's move on to our next problem, and we're going to talk about mental math word problems. Mental math meaning things that we could do in our head, and we're going to talk about divisibility rules a little bit, things that we can remember about divisibility, and just some good practice again. IXL is a good website. So is 1,362 divisible by 6? Now remember the rule for 6. It has to work for 2 and it has to work for 3 in order for it to be divisible by 6. So if I know it ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, so it ends in an even, so it's divisible by 2. But now to figure it out for 3, I need to go up here and I need to add my numbers. 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 6 is 10, 10 plus 2 is 12. So I know, guess what? 6 does go into, or I'm sorry, 3 does go into 12. So if it works for both 3 and 2, I know that it works for 12. So I'm going to click on yes. Oops, closing glare here. I'm going to click on yes, and I'm going to submit my answer. And hopefully we added, or Mrs. Heath added correctly. Oh, well done. So I guess I did it. Now, is 673 divisible by 5? Well, if you remember the rule for 5, it has to end in 0 or 5. Does this number, 673, end in a 0 or a 5? And the answer is no. So we say no. Okay. The next one, 36,384 divisible by 4. Does anybody remember the rule for 4? I want you to bring in your answer to this problem for me and to see if you remember what the divisibility rule for 4 is. Or is there a divisibility rule for 4? So bring this answer in when you come into class tomorrow. Okay, so let's move on. It says now it's your turn. We're going to do our steps to division again. Now, I want to go through a division problem one more time with you. And in this case, I'm going to put 9 outside my little house, as we call it, into 639. Now again, remember, I need to do my steps. So how many 9s go into 6? Well, we can't. How many 9s go into 63? Well, if I know my multiplication, and I do, I know 9 times 7 is 63. And I'm going to subtract my 63. Oh, 3 minus 3 is 0, and I don't need to write my other 0. My next step is to bring down my 9. You can't forget that. Does 9 go into 9? And the answer is yes. How many times? 1 time. So that would be 9. 9 times 1 is 9, I'm multiplying. Now I'm going to subtract, which is step 3, and I'm going to get 9 minus 9 is 0, and there is nothing more to bring down. So I would write S equals 71. And that's a great way to do your math. Now, can I check it? Sure. A good way to check your answers is to take my quotient, which is my answer, and multiply it by 9, okay, which is my divisor. And 9 times 1 is 9. 7 times 9 is 63. And look at that. There is my answer. And I did it correctly. Okay, moving on to our next one, and this is the one you're going to need to do now. Your problem that you need to bring in for me is 18 into, remember our little house, 954. Now remember, yes, you can write these as a fraction. You can also write them as a remainder. So you need to decide which you would rather do, or write it both ways for me. That would work too. So let's go back to our objective. To learn the traditional method of division and how to put remainders into fractions. Well, we did it on our first one, and you are more than welcome. The second one we did not require us to make a remainder or to do a fraction. So in that case, it was an even. So we didn't need that. Now on your last one, let's see what happens. Do you need to create a fraction? Is there a remainder? Bring that into class, and we're going to play a game in class 2 called the Visibility Dash. Will be some really good practice for all of you. Great job with the lesson. Remember to do the quiz, and have a great evening.